Make money, make muscles, learn game. If you're listening to me, you're a hot dude. The hot dude life is not about your physical appearance. The hot dude life is a mentality. The Hot Dude Army is a global network, and the Hot Dude Army is everywhere. Decrease your judgment of others and increase the judgment of yourself. You belong to the streets, huh?
100%.
It starts with learning dating, and then you move on to something to push humanity forward. That is the philosophy of modern life dating.
This is a textbook example of really good game.
July 2022. The world is burning and corruption is out of control. Hidden in the chaos are the filthy elites, the politicians, and the fools who think they're cared for by either. And I'm there too. Watching, studying, learning their every play. 4 years of unplugging men have turned me into a ruthless animal. Once you've seen what I've seen, you can't be fooled by these scum again. I must move strategically and carefully. I can't save everyone, but I have become a symbol. Not only a symbol, I am a warning to those who try to corrupt the minds of many. They cannot win. They won't control us. Sometimes I forget that I'm making a difference, but I am. The world wants truth now more than ever, and they're getting what they want. The resentment from all the lies, deception, and murder at the hands of the elite are building to a boiling point. There is no turning back. All those liberals, intellectuals, and smooth talkers are now cornered by their own idiocy. They look at me to save them without changing their ways. And my answer is always no. Despite the looting, crime, and lawlessness everywhere, I have had an effect here. Millions of men are getting reached and unplugged, but I have to become more. A beacon of hope to let men know they are not alone. The men in our world are scarred and angry, like me. These scars can consume us, but if we learn from them, they become our greatest strength. I understand men today, betrayed by the very systems they've built and supported, abandoned, isolated, and alone now more than ever. Men are seeking answers. I am the answer. We are the answer. Together, we fight and win. Apart, we'll be picked off one by one and die alone. The time is now, and the choice is easy. Boom, baby, we're alive from the studio in Tokyo. Welcome to Interview with the Man, episode 552. Before you do anything, stop what you're doing right now. Go to the masculineempowermentnetwork.com because on July 28th, we are going live. We're going to teach you guys how to get laid. We're going to teach you how to get paid. We're going to teach you how to get made. We're going to teach you how to escape from the fucking matrix. We're going to teach you how to live the life that my great friend in the studio is living today, guys. You got a big, awesome show here for you guys today. Just go to masculineempowermentnetwork.com and then put your best email address in right here. Click on that, secure your spot. You'll be on the waiting list, and then you're going to get access to it on July 28th. It's been a while, but we got our good friend Mateo from Attraction Japan in the house, man. Welcome back to the show, sir.
What's
welcome.
Good, man? Thank you. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be on. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. So we're trying out the two mics in the studio, guys. So just let me know how everything goes. Mateo here gets more pussy than any guy that I know. Just to start off the show with a bang. And today we're going to talk about day game, life in Japan, your overall, approach to life. And, just kind of like dispelling some myths about women and pickup and all that shit that's going on because so many dudes are afraid of women, quite frankly. And a lot of guys, too, they think that it's like impossible to fucking get girls and get laid. You've been coaching. How long have you been coaching?
So I've been coaching maybe about 8.5 years, maybe almost 9 years now. Yeah.
Okay. 9 years. And you've been in the game 11 years.
Yeah. And and I'm not even counting. That's actually the only time here in Japan. I'm not actually counting time, when I was breaking out of my introverted shell back in university where I was putting myself through my own challenges and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, in Japan, doing cold approach specifically 11 years. Yeah.
Your approach to life is pretty awesome because I think you're very open-minded about your thoughts about life and existence and mortality and all this stuff. And I think you really live life the way it should be lived. Like you're a very active guy. You're out there. You're constantly at events. You're the lead. You mind if I say where you work at for the promotion? Yeah. So he's the lead promoter for One Oak Tokyo. And I mean, if you just follow his Instagram, which is human uploaded, you can just see every day this guy is just with like legions of hot girls.
Yeah, living life.
I mean, what is your overall approach? How do you view life? Like, because you don't have a very materialistic approach to thing. You're not very like, I need a fucking bunch of money. I need a yacht. I need a Lambo. I need like $1 million. You're just like really living. You're doing what guys want to do, which is fucking have sex with a lot of girls.
Yeah. So the one thing I always admired about you is that you've got like crazy amount of drive to create content, right? And that's one of the areas where I was always lacking because I was always just doing it basically. Like I was actually going out and approaching,
Yep.
and I wish I was better at actually recording and filming. So that's why it's always a pleasure to come on here. And you have the crazy work ethic to do these live streams all the time, to put out so much content as you do. I'm just like in a cycle of crazy fucking hedonism, basically. Going everywhere with beautiful women and increasing the level and the events to which I'm doing that, right? So I started off essentially just to bring it all the way back those 11 years, coming from university. And for a lot of people, there was women around them. If you're in a place like a university or, you have a social circle, it's kind of, you're living with women or you're in the same classes or something like that. So
yeah, where did you go to university?
It was Occidental in Los Angeles.
Oh, you went in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What year was this?
I graduated in 2011.
From college or?
College, yeah.
Okay, so so this was like, you started cutting your teeth in like, I guess, -4, 2007?
Yeah. So yeah, full rewind to high school. I was like, I would go to the cafeteria, I'd get my lunch and like go out back behind the cafeteria to sit with my 4 friends.
Oh, wow.
And just chill and eat, because like I wasn't trying to like interact with that many people, right? So I was super introverted, and I did have girlfriends. I did have a girlfriend. One of those 4 people was my girlfriend, but I wasn't out there like big pimping or doing anything in high school, right? And halfway through college, I started to be like, I can't live my life like this forever. I have to become more social, right? And I sort of figured out that there were girls around me, there were chances, and I saw the opportunities pass me by, and I was like, this can't go on forever. I can't keep living my life watching opportunities walk by, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I do this thing as a natural introvert, right? How do I do this thing, and how do I put myself out there and press, like it's like weight training, right? Like build those muscles in areas where, I didn't have them before. And so I started to actively try to go out, meet people, go out to events, go out to parties, go out to, whatever it might be, just at my university, right? Studied abroad. I traveled the world a bit and had a great time. And from there, when I moved to Japan, that was when I really felt the need to do cold approach. Because I was thrust into a culture where I didn't have, all of a sudden I moved here. I had an apartment, had a job, shitty job, and I had no women around me.
What was that first job?
Yeah, it was English teaching, right? Yeah.
Which company was it?
Oh, fuck, man.
I worked for Nova.
Oh, okay. I worked for Nova briefly, I think, but that wasn't the first one. I can't remember actually the first one. It was I think it was some small conversational school.
Okay.
Anyway,
Did you bang any students?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Good man.
I did. Yeah. And looking back now, I'm like, why? Yeah, it's funny. But looking back now, I'm like, why would I sleep with that girl? Like the reason I slept with her is because she was there, right?
Yeah.
She was literally there.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the same thing about university. It's like, either you are like a speck of dust floating in the wind, and you're blown around by the universe, and you only are able to interact with and engage with women who are in your near proximity, like a fucking amoeba or something, right?
Yeah.
Or you're a wolf and you go out and you take action towards the women that actually inspire you, right? Right. So like you look at magazine covers, you look at porn or whatever it is you're gonna look at, right? Whatever your ideal girl is, right? You have 2 choices. You can either just wait, like floating around like a piece of dust until you happen to bump into that kind of girl, and then hope you have the skills to win her over, or you can step out of your house, tie your fucking shoes, brush your teeth, and take yourself by your balls and go talk to her, right?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of guys who are extremely afraid to do that around the world.
Of course.
And it's a little emasculating for them. You know what I mean?
Of course. And I mean, I think the reason is because it's like, it's basically the ultimate, like a rejection, a woman's rejection is the ultimate kind of insult in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like it's she's saying you are not fit to reproduce with me, right?
Oh yeah.
And that hurts, that cuts deep, right? Like I don't think there's any deeper insult than that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, dudes kill themselves over that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So my goal, my mission now is to try to help people find their ability, find their confidence to approach women wherever they may be. To prevent guys from killing themselves or shooting up a school or whatever it might be, right?
Right.
They have to find a healthy way to go forward and approach women that the women will understand, and that will talk them back off that ledge, because a lot of guys are in pain, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of guys are in pain. A lot of guys feel inadequate.
Yeah. What's that quote? They live quiet lives of desperation. Have you heard that quote? Yeah, I think that's huge. There's a lot of dudes suffering in silence because they don't feel like they're good enough
They don't think that, because they're crippled with ignorance. Because if they knew what you knew, they would be doing what you're doing, right?
Right, yeah. And some guys even are too smart for themselves, actually, right? Like some guys, like I was actually just on the walk over here, we were saying like the two kind of guys who, when they show up for coaching, right? Two kinds of students that I'm always like, oh fuck, like this is gonna be difficult, right? There's two kinds of guys. One is the guys who are too smart for their own good. Yeah. Usually social, like usually programmers or something like that.
Right.
Right. And the problem is for them is that they view everything as a logic problem to be solved. And human beings are not like that, and especially women are definitely not like that.
Right.
Women are fucking nuts, right? So and they're going to throw everything at you. Like whatever they're going to find that little pain button and they're going to push it. And if you can't handle it, then they're going to see that. They're going to see your insecurity and they're going to leave, right?
That's an interesting point. I've never actually heard somebody say that. So do you think women, how often do you think and how soon do they hit that pain button for men?
Yeah, as soon as they can find it, basically, right? So
wow.
and the hotter the girl is, the faster she's going to try to find the button and push it, because it's a filter for her, right? So she has to like, as a beautiful woman walking down the street or going about your life, literally everybody wants you to do everything, right?
Right.
Like the cafe wants you to be their barista, right? Because you're beautiful. And then, or, you know, even their cover girl on the poster of the cafe, right?
Right.
Everybody's trying to get you to be a model. Everybody wants your time. Everybody wants everything from you, right? So she has to filter, you know, her time. Otherwise, there's nothing, you know, she's not going to get anything done. So the way she filters her time is to understand who is worth her time. And who is worth her time is the person who understands themselves, right? Right? So if she finds some piece of you, right? So like, let's say, for example, you're bald or you're fat or something, right? If she's like,
I feel targeted.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So let's say you rock up to a girl, right? You're like, yo, what up, girl? And she's like, fuck off, bald man, right? And then she looks at you, right? Because it's not that she hates bald men, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, how are you gonna deal with this, right? How are you gonna deal with the fact that I'm calling you a bald man? Are you like, you know, are you cool with it in your heart of hearts, right? Right? And where does that come from? That comes from like ancient programming. Like, look, if we are together, man and wife, and a meteor destroys our house, are you going to have the resolve to be able to rebuild what we have and carry our children forward? Right? Are you aware of your own insecurities? Are you aware of what's going to happen? Are you able to take a punch on the chin and keep walking forward?
Right.
So the hotter the girl is, the faster she's going to test you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep, man. And I think that is true, because I think, like you said, it is kind of built into them. Like they need to test us, you know, and I guess that's what they call it, you know, the shit test in this community. I think that's the problem with a lot of guys too. That's why, you know, I always say like the thing above my head here, like money, muscles, game, frame. Frame is like, you know, your self-esteem, your self-worth, and like frame is your kind of perception of reality. You know what I mean? And if she can shake or break that frame, she's gonna know, oh, this guy's a fucking pussy, and I don't want to be with him. And they will test it, but they're women test your boundaries to feel safe. You know what I mean? And I think that comes back to with the inner game stuff, because right now I've been doing the coaching online, intensive coaching, you know, since 2019. And one thing I've noticed with the guys, they've kind of taken this more of a feminine approach on things, which is like they need to look perfect. They need to they think looks are everything. You need to look perfect. You need to have perfect jawline. You need to have perfect hairline. You need to have perfect ab line, you know, and they're coming at it from a very feminine perspective, in my opinion. But the reality is you got to have your internal game sorted out. Otherwise, nothing's going to work. And hot girls, they're not going to tolerate that shit. The only thing that is going to put up with that are like broken predatory women and or just broken women. Would you agree?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, like tons of guys come to me. They have everything in their life sorted. You know, they got money, they got everything, and they're still getting jerked around by women, right? And why is that? It's the frame, exactly, just like you said. And I think that word is so interesting, right? Because we have our beliefs, right? We have our past, our history, our upbringing, right? Our parents, our socializing agents, whether it's the media or the church or whatever, right? That infuse these beliefs into us at a very young age, right? So those are the beliefs that, okay, now you're sitting here, you're however old you are, you know, we're however old we are. We have beliefs that we've come with, right? The question is, what are you going to do about it, right?
Yeah.
So a frame to me is such a, like, the word itself is so powerful, because what does a photographer do? They have a box, right? All they do is they choose where they're going to put the box, right? And they take a picture and people say that was a very beautiful place to put the box, right? So it's exactly that's exactly what a frame is. The important part is not what your belief is, it's what your belief does for you, right?
Right.
So are you living, like, you could have a totally deluded belief. You could be absolutely deluded, but as long as it's bringing you forward towards your goal, then that's extreme power, basically.
Could you give an example of someone having a deluded belief but still pulling them forward? What do you mean by that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see it all the time. Like, you see it all the time at the fringes of society. You can see it in cults. You even see it on Wall Street, right? People have these crazy extreme beliefs, right? That this is the way that they should do things, and they're pulled towards that, right? So I'm not saying the end justifies the means at all, but all I'm saying is that the way that you choose to look at the world influences the power that you have in it.
Kind of like some of these cryptocurrency leaders who are like cult members, you know, like Richard Hart thinks like Hex is going to change the world. You know, Roger Ver, our boy here in Tokyo, is like, you know, super Bitcoin Cash, but they are galvanizing a following by having such a strong frame and belief in that. Right.
Yeah, so ultimately, it's like you have to look at where you want to be in life, whether that is, you know, for with women, going back to the previous topic, right? Like, if you're, you know, if there's a magazine model or a porn star or whatever, and you're like, I want to be with that girl that looks like that. I want to walk down the street with a girl that looks like that. Or I want to walk down the street with 3 girls that look like that. Whatever your goal is, cool, fine. You have to set your own internal beliefs to align in that direction, like a prism, right? And that to me is what frame means, right? It's like you choose out of all of the stimulus in the world, out of all the noise that is floating around, you choose where to look at and what to focus on, right? And that creates your destiny, basically.
So let me ask you this. Then what is your frame when approaching women? Because you're very good, you're very successful at it. So like, what is the Mateo frame?
So one thing I like to think of is I actually like to take on the underdog frame, right? And this is actually really interesting. And I think this allows you a lot of freedom, and it's quite empowering, actually. So what it is, in Japan especially, but anywhere in the world, most girls, when a guy goes up to when a guy goes up to her, they're thinking like, let's see what he's got, right? Right? So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm like Rocky, right? I'm like the underdog, like the girl is whatever, right? But I got that hand though, right? So like, she might hit me, right? She might hit me once, twice, 3 times, whatever, right? She might poke me where it hurts, right? But I got a puncher's chance, right? So I actually love it when girls underestimate me, because it gives me space to exceed their expectations.
Oh, wow, that's deep.
Yeah. So I'd much rather like go in like under the radar than come in like flexing super hard.
Because you can only go down. That's really like well thought out. I never even thought of it like that. Because I'm always thinking, honestly, that's how I'm thinking. Like, I need to overachieve. I need to be like, you know, just like fucking dwarf them with my awesomeness.
Right. So yeah, and I have the same thing when I'm coaching guys as well. When I coach guys who are like powerful, like investment bankers, lawyers, whatever, right? They're always like, I have this crazy title, but whenever I say it, like, you can kind of see girls just like their eyes just glaze over, right? And what is it? What is it? Why is it? Or with male models or something, right? Girls will be like, oh my God, I want to talk to that guy. But then they go sit next to them. They're like, this guy's fucking boring. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is it? It's the difference between expectation and who they actually are, right? So if the way you present yourself is like, I'm like the fucking God, then you have there's no space. There's no space higher than God, right?
Right.
That you have to crash and burn, right? So when I go up to a girl, I take myself, I'm just myself. I'm just like, and I like to think of it as like cold, naked, and alone. If you were cold, naked, and alone, could you approach a girl, right? Right? Because at the end of the day, we're born and we die cold, naked, and alone for the most part.
That's what Kramer said. I was born naked and I'm gonna die naked. Like, he's like, how are you gonna die naked? He's like, you'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can approach a girl cold, cold, naked, and alone, then you can kind of do anything, right?
Yeah.
Right. And what that means, and it's empowering, because it means that, like, you don't have to rely on any external thing to give yourself confidence, right? Because every human being here is a success story, basically, right? All of our ancestors successfully reproduced, right?
Right.
We all have fathers, we all have mothers, we have fathers, all the way back. You were literally, every person watching this story is literally the next domino in a line of millions of men going back through history.
Right.
Right? So you are literally a success, the epitome of success, right? Already, right? So you're fine as you are. If you're having some crazy doubts or I'm not good enough for XYZ girl, you are the epitome of success as is, right? So that's the fundamental basis of confidence.
I think that takes a lot of thought to come to that kind of, understanding. How much drugs were involved in coming to the conclusion with that? I'm just joking.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of things can, like, yeah.
It's deep, though. It's very deep,
Yeah, I mean, when you they call it ego death for a reason, right?
When you take mushrooms and trip and all that.
Yeah, mushrooms or acid, any sort of strong psychedelic hallucinogen, right? Yeah. If you take it at a high enough dose, you have ego death. And what does that mean? That means that you shed all of these beliefs about yourself, right? So if you hold on to something, you say, like, I am this, right? I am a man, I am a architect, I am a
American.
Canadian citizen or whatever. Yeah, whatever it is, right? These are all things, these are all beliefs that you have. If you shed all of those beliefs, what actually are you? You're a point of awareness, right?
Yeah.
And you can influence what you focus on, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, right? So if you're able to go up to a girl as just that point of awareness and be like, hey, look, here I am, and you notice something about her, then yeah, if you
we're reading you guys saying ketamine will do the trick. It's funny.
That is hilarious. Yeah, if you approach a girl, just at the end of the day, it's about simplicity. It's about simplicity. If she sees that you don't take yourself too seriously and that you're aware of your own flaws, then great. Perfect. She's like, oh, holy shit, I've found somebody who is aware, right?
You ever see that movie Regarding Henry with Harrison Ford? It's an old movie. Yeah. So it starts out, and this ties to the situation of you taking yourself too seriously. He's this investment banker, and he is just this uptight asshole, arrogant, and just very A-type, strong, masculine man, right? And he goes out in the middle of the night, he's cheating on his wife. He goes out in the middle of the night, runs to the convenience store, the convenience store is being robbed and he gets shot in the head. And then he fucking loses part of his personality and he becomes like this completely different, like B-type person. And like there's a scene where they're having dinner or they're having breakfast and his daughter knocks over a glass of orange juice and the wife stands up and the daughter's like ready to be yelled at. And he was just like, is everything okay? Like, so what's going on? She's like, I knocked over the orange juice. He was like, so? And then he has a glass of milk right there and he just knocks it over. For me, it was very powerful. But like, you know, I think because we try so, you know, I've learned this last year. I'm a control freak. And I'm realizing I'm not really a control freak. I'm a control fool because control is an illusion. You know what I mean? We think we can scramble to collect things and control things and try to, you know, minimize as many errors as possible, which you can, but it'll only last for a short amount of time. And at the end of the day, it's all going to fall apart anyways. You can, you know, control is an illusion. But I think, you know, for these people that are so uptight, so stressed out, so up their ass, that is a lot of stress on the woman when they're dating them as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, yeah, I just don't think, I think it's anti-seductive. And that's something that I personally have worked on to overcome. And I still need to do better at it. And that's why I respect you. Because I love your kind of just laissez-faire attitude to life. Just kind of like, you know, you're just existing, you're enjoying, and you're really just comfortable with who you are. You know, you really embody be yourself. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I think it's important to know yourself as well and to dig through those weaknesses and approaching girls will do the same thing that the strong dose of acid will do to you because
or ketamine.
Yeah, or ketamine or whatever, right? It's going to, like, whatever random anxiety you have, it's going to make it more apparent, right?
Right.
But it's good because by making it more apparent, it gives you a chance to resolve it, right? So that's why, and it's the same thing that happens with any sort of deep psychotherapy, right? So that's why rejections are basically, it's like a whetstone that you can sharpen your edge against, right? Like, women will reject you and they'll often say very mean things to you, right?
Vicious, bro.
Yeah, vicious. They're fucking vicious. And that is a chance for you to understand your own internal issues, right? And as long as you're aware of that and can reintegrate those past traumas with yourself, then you are basically invincible when it comes to, you know, frame, as far as frame goes.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys they take the bait when women come to them and hit them up, and then, you know, all, like, when you're reactive to, I mean, Eleanor Roosevelt said this, right? No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And I think that is one thing that a lot of guys miss. Like, these girls are shit testing you to an extent because they want you to pass. They want you because
they're definitely rooting for you to pass.
Yeah, that's them, like, because a shit test is actually, it's a soft yes.
Yeah.
It's not a hard no.
Yeah, it's definitely like a shit. Like, if you're not getting tests, that's way more of a problem than if you are, right? They definitely want you. They're rooting. They're begging you to pass it, right? They're like, for us, pass this test for us, right? Yeah, absolutely. For us and our future our future kids, right?
Our procreations.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to we got a couple donations. First, Billy with the direct donation, $50. Thank you so much. He says, this is going to be such a great show. Mateo and MLD helped me out in Q1 of the Masculine Empowerment Network. Gave me very concrete advice about social anxiousness and game. Thank you very much. Hope to see Mateo in more episodes. Yeah, Mateo is always welcome on the show. And then shout out to Terrence with a...
Shut up and take my money.
There it is, 10,000 yen super chat. That's about $100. He says, if you get anxiety approaching girls, realize you will never be a CEO, never be a CIO, and you'll never be able to lead. These anxieties will limit you not just in women, but everywhere. And then shout out to Ralph. Ralph, this is the guy I was telling you at dinner. Ralph was the one saying, "Where's Mateo? Where's Mateo?" I don't know. You know Ralph? I don't know if you know.
What's up, Ralph? How you doing, man? What's up, guys? What's up, Billy? Cheers. Good to see you in here as well.
Yeah, guys, thanks for donation. I know that the cameras are kind of out of focus, but just focus on what we're saying. We're dropping dimes. I mean, I don't know. I got the autofocus thing is kind of weird. Just deal with
too
it.
bright. There's too many stars in the building. Like.
So my fake ceramic teeth is just blinding us all. So let's go back to women, right? Now, with guys nowadays, right? We're both, I mean, what, you 33?
Yeah, 32.
32. Okay, I'm 36. So we're kind of from the same generation, right? 4-year gap there. Now, we're the ones that, did you grow up and your mom was like, just come home when the sun's down?
My mom was chill, yeah.
Yeah, that was just like, you just went outside. You played outside. We were alive before the internet existed. And, I just have, in my opinion, I just see guys out there and there's just, I don't know, I just think like there's an epidemic of dudes that are just fucking pussies. You know what I mean? And not in the sense like you're a weak little bitch because you don't lift weights or you can't fight or something like, but just these guys are afraid to live. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you notice that? What's your take on that?
Yeah. I mean, I do think, the technology has, it's powerful, but it does, obviously keep more, put distance between people, which is why I've always been interested in cold approach over any other method. And the main reason being, right, when you're doing something like Tinder or Bumble or whatever, right, you're not actually building a skill set, right? You might meet some girls from it, but you're not really building any skill set. You're not actually doing any work, really, like any deep work, rather. Your thumb's getting work, right? But your personality isn't, right? So that to me is, except when the girl comes out on a date. When a girl comes out on a date, then you still have to interact with her, right?
Right.
And over text, I guess there is a little bit of text game to be had, right? But it's basically low fidelity, right? It's like how are you going to seduce somebody with Morse code or something, right? Like you basically you want to maximize the fidelity with which you're approaching women, right? It's doing here we go. If I put my hand up, it focuses.
Yeah, we'll just do the whole podcast like this.
Just be like, how? Yeah.
That's racist nowadays.
Yeah, so you want to have high fidelity when you approach women, and when you ask them to do something. Basically, the more distance you have, the more you use technology, the more you're using. Like, how much can you actually seduce a girl with characters over a smartphone that is coming through the internet? Like,
yeah,
literally using 26 Roman letters and some fucking emoji, and you think it's going to capture your personality.
I think that because I hear a lot of guys are just like, I need a text guide, teach me text game. And I think I think texting, for me, the way I operate, texting is all about timing and setting logistics. That's it.
Yeah. Texting is just when are we going to meet up?
Yeah. And, I just think really when it comes to online dating, it's 3 things. It's 1, pictures, 2, beating the algorithm, and then 3, having a decent enough amount of social skills so you're not like fully mentally retarded when you're communicating with the chick, and understand that when you're on dating apps, she's not just talking to you, she's talking to like 5 guys minimum per day,
right?
And then you're just getting your shot at the title. Really, that's all it boils down to.
Right. And it's about leverage as well. Like,
I'm gonna turn the autofocus off. Keep going.
Sure. It's about leverage as well, because I tried various, pretty much all the dating apps in multiple countries, and I never actually met a girl that was above my level through a dating app. But using cold approach, I've definitely met girls who are above my level, right? Quote unquote, right? I'm the shit, so nobody's above my level, but. You know what I mean? Like, if you are a 6, if you were a 7, and you get on dating apps and you take the best pictures, right? Then okay, you're gonna get with the 6s and 7s that are on the dating app, maybe, right? if you're in person, you can punch above your weight, right? And that's really what it comes down to me. It's about, do you want okay or do you want excellent, right? If you want excellent, it's not going to be easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? So ultimately, if you can take yourself by the balls and take yourself cold, naked, and alone and rock up to a girl in public, right, and talk to her, she's going to have massively more respect than if you slid in her DMs or texted her or something, right? And I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I know you don't want to do it, but you have to, right? Like, you basically have to if you want to have those outsized outcomes, right? Oversized outcomes, that leverage that you can get with personality, right? And it also, again, going back to that the previous conversation with the acid and everything, it works on it digs through into your deeper trauma, deeper personality as well.
Yeah, I think I was telling Mateo, we were talking about it at dinner. Like, when we do the Masculine Empowerment Network, even when we did the Dark Pass, right? The first couple webinars, like, how do I get these girls? How do I, for your kid situation, how do I talk to Japanese girls? By the way, guys, let me have the autofocus situation fixed. I think I fixed it. Day 1, day 2, how do I get these girls? How do I get pussy? How do I fucking fuck many hoes, right? But then, like, day 4, day 5, day 6, it's like, well, really, my dad was never proud of me, and that's why, my mom didn't love me, and, my coach in basketball called me, like, short and baldy and whatever, and I just always felt like I needed to, like, overcompensate, to get to the next level, and it's really deep, because it's funny how this movement of PUA and picking up girls and stuff, I think it started because it's really a symptom of something a lot larger, like a societal brokenness that's mainly coming out of the Western hemisphere. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I noticed this actually with cultures of guys, right? Because we have I've been coaching guys a long time now, right?
Yeah, how many guys do you? Because you've been coaching for the longest time.
Yeah. I mean, hundreds. I don't know exactly in person. I haven't kept count, but
hundreds for sure.
Hundreds and hundreds of guys from many different cultures, and it's gotten to the point where I've noticed patterns in cultures, right? So, for example, Italian guys, right, talking to a girl in the street, it's like, it's like buying a loaf of bread. It's like, it's obvious, right? Right? Same with something like Turkish guys or something. They're just, if there's a girl there, she's got curves, she's going to talk to him, right? He's going to talk to her. So the guys that have more kind of trouble are a lot of times guys who come from like Anglo-Protestant kind of backgrounds. And so that would include the U.S. as well. For a lot of it, right? Just
for people that may not know Anglo-Protestant, name some countries like America.
Yeah, so UK, the UK and northern Germany and things like this, right? Whereas Catholic countries would be more like South America and Spain and Italy. So Catholic countries are much more like romantic and passionate, right? And it comes out in their neuroses too, right? When they're actually going out and trying to meet women, right? People have various things, right? Some guys will have a lot of guilt, right? They'll feel like, I have all this guilt about sex. Sex is dirty, blah, 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 right?
They feel like, oh, she knows I'm coming at her for sex.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Every girl knows. They all know.
Right. They all know. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and it's funny too. It's like if the girl is a castle, right? And you're trying to get in the castle, it's like, you don't want to be like the sneaky dude trying to like climb in the sewers or something. Just ride up to the front and be like, boom, boom, yo, let me in. Like, just do that. It's going to work better, right? Like,
I'm here to fuck you.
Yeah. Just roll up, right? With your full plate mail and just be like, dun, dun, let me in. Let's eat some fucking roast ham or whatever.
I'm here for ye old anal sex. But, and it sounds counterintuitive because we have this whole Me Too shit, which is like basically saying like women are not interested in sex. And like, that's just the farthest thing from the fucking truth, bro. These girls want some dick, bro. It's just, it's normal. But what I've realized we're being taught to do is we're being taught to reject our internal compasses, our natural thing. Like, for example, we talked about at dinner, we prefer, if we're going to keep a girl, like typically we want a girl with lower body count. I think every guy can say that, but now they're like,
Right.
oh, that's slut shaming, or, we don't want a fucking fat bitch. Oh, well, that's fat shaming. And it's just like, what kind of clown fucking
And then
world?
you see girls' Tinder profiles. It's like only guys over 6 feet or something. Like it's like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very consistent across the board too. Or like when the new thing in the States is just like, girls will be just like, well, you probably just have a small dick. I'm like, well, I know what you're interested in now. I think, it goes back down to, it always comes back down to something inside. When they say like the natural, what is the natural? The natural is just a guy who doesn't have any psychological hangups and he's down to fuck. You know what I mean?
Right. And naturals also, in general, got good reinforcement. Like, basically, like, most naturals had usually 2 stable parents and, like, early socializing experiences on the playground.
Yes, dude.
The kids would play with them because their parents taught them, like, okay, hey, don't punch them when they, don't steal the toy, right? Like, basic stuff at a kindergarten level turns people into naturals, right? And it helps when they get to, middle school, high school, if they turn out to look like, a high school quarterback or a linebacker or something, right? If they look like that, then people are going to give them good reactions automatically,
right?
And then they build up confidence, and that's how you get a natural, right? So the problem is that the guys who are not in that category, if either the family upbringing wasn't as stable, or when they were in preschool or whatever, maybe some kids made fun of them, like maybe you're the brown kid, or you're the whatever kid,
you're
right?
Asian,
you're Asian, you're whatever, right? Like, or in high school and so on, when puberty hit, like if you weren't big and you weren't like, you didn't look like a high school quarterback, right? Then maybe girls would be like, no, you're basically not allowed to have sexuality if you look, if you're like a scrawny, nerdy little dude, right? They'll just like shame you, basically like beta shame you into the corner and be like, no, come out when you're, when you look like a Greek god or something, right?
Yeah.
So guys who have the physique get reinforced, and then they become natural. So it's much easier for that kind of person with a stable background, or who automatically builds out into a, kind of like a Greek god type or a athlete, right? They will get that reinforcement, whereas guys who are in the more kind of nerdy or smaller camp will get picked on and basically told that their sexuality is not valid, and that they should focus on money and weight, and a lot later down the line you're going to meet some girl who's going to happen. You're going to be a floating dust speck, and you're going to bump into that floating dust speck, and you guys are going to be perfect for each other, right?
Yeah.
And that's the dream. That's the dream that people that society tells you,
is that not
so that
such,
you don't revolt, right?
Isn't that like such ego to think like, oh, I hate when guys tell me like, okay, I suck at dating. I'm like, cool, I'm great at dating. Come get some coaching. No, I'm okay. I'm going to figure it out on my own. Okay, how? I'm going to read a book. I'm like, how do you know that guy that wrote the fucking book has gotten any pussy before?
Yeah. People regularly overrate themselves when it comes to women, when it comes to getting in a fight, when it comes to all these sort of basic kind of man abilities.
I think those are the top 2 things you just highlighted. Every guy thinks he's a better fighter than he is, and every guy thinks he's better with women than he actually is.
Yeah. And you can tell, like it's almost like you can almost quote them. They're like, "I do all right." Like literally, it's that phrase. They're like, "I do all right," like I could take him, right? And like you immediately know you can't, right? Like
God.
they can't, and they do not do all right, right? Yeah. So it's like, first is like you have to have a little bit of self-awareness, right? And everybody that's watching this already has come far enough that you have some self-awareness, right? So, first you have to have the self-awareness, and then you have to take that action, right?
Right.
And they're both hard, right? They're both hard. But getting outside, getting out, tying your shoelaces, going out and talking to a real breathing, living human being in public is the best possible thing you can do if you want to improve with women in general. And that goes with whether you want one girlfriend, whether you want a devoted wife, whether you want this type of girl, whether you want that type of girl. It doesn't matter. It starts with getting outside, moving your feet, talking to a girl.
And a lot of guys, like, I hate when I see fucking old dipshits who are saying like, oh, I could do great these days. All I need to do is download Tinder and then I'm gonna get a fucking shitload of girls. It's like, dude, fuck you. This is not 1982. Okay, like that's not how the world works nowadays. I think to an extent, to a certain extent, it is in the West. It's getting a little bit harder for guys to get pussy. I think a little bit, but I also think a big part of that is because the dudes themselves are just like misinformed and they're kind of pussies and like, you know, they don't take care of themselves. You know what I mean? They have no confidence. They have no edge. They have no swagger, and those things those are things that you invest in. You know, your confidence, your body, your swagger. You know, your unique identity, your unique persona. That's what makes you stand out from the fucking sea of NPCs out there. You know, the fucking Ukraine normies and all that shit. I think that it's really important for guys to, like, they have to get out there. You can't just stay at home and be a fucking keyboard alpha. You eventually got to go out there and catch a bitch and get her to fucking suck your dick and fuck her and have a good old time. And it's awesome. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to shift gear. I want to shift gears here. And by the way, if you guys have any questions in the chat, go ahead, send a super chat. We will hook you up with a solid answer. Let's talk about you, Mateo. So, a day in the life of Mateo. Like, you're living your day to day right now. You are still partying. You're still, because you, in my opinion, if I could sum up the system you have right now for women, it's definitely like a high level social circle.
Yeah. So
your day to day, like what's your agenda? What are you looking for? Like, what are you doing? You wake up, you're like, I want to fuck some hoes, I want to make some money, I want to do business stuff. Like, what is it that's just, how do you flow and how do you live your life?
On the weekdays, I'm just about health and business, basically. And on the weekends, I'm all about the high level events, basically. So I organize a series of events. They usually cost about $200 to enter for guys, and the ratio is usually about like 3 girls to 1 guy for the most part.
Is this the Sapphire list?
Yeah. So that kind of event, as well as at the club, bring girls to the club, basically. And that's not even for me, even just to harvest, right? Necessarily. Like, I went for a long time. First, I found out how to feed myself, right? I learned how to, like, go out in the world, talk to a girl, not come across as weird or creepy or whatever, right? Lead her somewhere that day, lead her home, right? Lead her to get a drink, lead her home, and sleep with her, right? And then once I was good with feeding myself, I did that for many, many years, had a great time, reached all crazy levels of success with it, all sorts of girls, had girls, you know, driving me around in crazy convertibles and models and porn stars, every type of girl you can imagine, right?
I met that one porn star. She was fucking gorgeous. She had a nice personality too.
Yeah, she's great. And then from there, I was like, Corona basically hit, and I was in Osaka at the time. My buddy over here in Tokyo was like, yo, you know, I had this property where basically, you know, it was an Airbnb and now it's empty. So you guys want to come live in it and have a good time? And I was like, fuck yeah, all right, let's do it. So me and another guy who's like really high level gamer as well, we lived there. We were basically just going out, talking to girls in the street, pulling them home, having big groups of like 5, 6, 10 girls over every night, even like on, you know, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, whatever. And that was just our lifestyle, right? So we were, at that point, I started getting into more, not just feeding myself, but feeding my friends. So then I would start approaching some girl. I'd approach a girl on the street, right? And I'd be like,
I remember the video.
What? This would be, this kind of, like, this girl's hot, of course, right? She's like a 7 or 8, whatever, right? I would happily sleep with her. But I think this friend of mine would actually be a really good fit for her, because maybe, you know, she likes XYZ, maybe she's a gamer, and my friend here, he's a gamer. So then I would like introduce them, right? And so I got into this mode where I was like, and it was reciprocal too, right? Because obviously if you do something, if you give somebody like, you know, $100 and then $100 again and $100 again, pretty soon you're gonna get tired of it. But if it's coming back and forth, right? And And then if there's value going back and forth, and that's what's important, right? So this is what we started to create, an ecosystem, which is all these kinds of all the guys around us. Were all gaming, all going out, all gaming, all talking to girls in the street, meeting them, smashing them, pulling over, had like orgies, everything you can imagine, and then passing them to our friends, right? And if there was a girl who in particular, so if it's like, oh, this girl's kind of shy, like she seems like really like kind of quiet, nurturing type, be like, oh, yo, let me introduce you to MLD or something like that, right? So it'd be like that kind of like everybody scratches everybody's back situation, right? And when a bunch of guys who have skill and value work together for something, it can reach crazy heights. So we were having crazy parties. You came to a couple of them as well, and it was insane. Like the lifestyle we were living. We had a pole in the basement, like a stripper pole in the basement. We had a jacuzzi. It was insane. So that was kind of reaching the next level. So feeding myself to feeding other people around me to just like having a big fucking bucket of
like a sexual
fish or
it was,
whatever.
dude, I have you I like when I first met you, I had him saved in my phone as Mateo Whorehouse because I just every time like the guys were like, what are you doing? I'm like, head to the whorehouse, because it was just like you're like I want you to elaborate more on this because it was beautiful when you explained it to me. You really opened my eyes a lot last year when I met you, and that's why I chose to do the Dark Pass with you. When you had like this non-judgmental kind of open sexual air about this house, and it was a big, beautiful house in like the heart of Tokyo, centralized location. I mean, you were having like, dude, they were like at one point, I think one of the things I said, there was like 10 or 15 girls in there, like all having sex, and like just this giant orgy, like this judgment-free orgy. And like the guys there were not like giga chads, not like super rich. These are like dudes making $60,000, $50,000, $40,000 a year, not 6 foot tall. How did you cultivate that? And I want you to explain, because you explained it beautifully to me, but like the mindset and the frame that you framed it for the girls.
Right. Yeah. Well, so it's the foundation is like, you have to be able to feed yourself, right?
You gotta have game.
Yeah, you do have to have game, and we did have immersions there where we would bring up guys who were, we would help bring them up, bring their game level up to the point where they were able to contribute and participate and everything. But you do have to be able to feed yourself first, right? But then like the magic is when you step into this house, it's like everybody's frames are all working in the same way, right?
Kind of aligned.
Right, aligned, right? So it's like it's the same thing when girls go on vacation or something. They go to Bali and they just like fuck some guys, right? Because they're like, I'm in vacation mode, right? So we basically made vacation mode, but inside of the city that already exists. And so they step into the house. They're like, they quickly realize, because girls are insanely aware, right? They're insanely socially aware. So they quickly realize, they're like, hey, these people don't seem judgmental, and hey, they're all pretty cool to talk to, and yeah, I mean, I guess I could sleep with one of them, or two, or three, or something, right? So
they're curious, at least.
Yeah, they're curious, right? And you get these girls who had even girls who came in with a low body count, and they would go out with them with a much higher body count, right? So because they never encountered that kind of situation before, right? It's like a vortex or something, like stepping into some weird trippy mirror, like the down under, or like some
the mirror dimension.
yeah
because you made it was so crazy, because when I was dating Miss MLD, actually one of her friends that she went to high school with was in the house.
Oh, really?
She came up to me at a party. She's like, are you Jonathan? I was like, who the fuck is this bitch? And then she blew up my spot.
Yeah.
But it was crazy just to see the medley of girls that were coming there. And it's funny because women will always, women are like water. Okay, they will fit your frame. I think we have a perfect example here. Like if this glass thing is your frame, a woman will fit to your frame, and it doesn't matter what it is. But your frame has to be solid, and it has to be owned by a strong man that she can feel safe in. Because if he doesn't feel safe, I mean, she's not going to get in. Women, especially Japanese women, I think I say they're more like cats. you have to be smooth. You got to seduce him in it, show him everything's good. If you move too fast, you do something crazy, the cat's running away. And it's never coming back. And I think Japanese girls are kind of the same. But once you cultivate an air of non-judgmentalness and fun, because that's all girls want to do is have fun and not be judged. Who wants to be judged, really? You can have, quite the goddamn wild time. That's the thing about you is like you really live this life. Like you have to be in it 24/7 like you are to make it happen. It's an investment in your time and it can be stressful because these bitches are crazy. But the upsides are just like you literally have like rock star levels of sexual success.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the crazy thing as well is like girls will conspire with each other, right? Like to have a good time. Like two friends will come, right? And then they will both smash some guy or maybe multiple guys or whatever, right? And then like they'll go home and they'll just be like, well, that was our little secret, right? That's never getting told to anybody else we know ever. And you can see that like they have like the whiteboard of their lay count and they just like erase what just happened off of it. And they're just like, this will not be recorded in history. But they're very aware. They're very aware and they do want to have a good time, right?
I think a lot of guys who don't have success with women, they make it way more complicated than it actually is. And I think the number one fear that men have is the one that you mentioned earlier, the fear of rejection, because it's the one that hurts the most. Like,
right.
You are not biologically sufficient enough for me. But you always got to run in the direction of your fears if you want to get anywhere in life. You've coached hundreds of people. You've done more than 10,000 cold approaches. What would you tell to a guy at home right now watching this broadcast who's just like, I want to fucking get better with women and I want to fucking, get the girls that I want? Like, what would you tell that guy? Like day one, he starts his pickup journey today. What would you tell him?
Yeah, you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to stop doing things that are peripheral to it and think you're making progress, and you have to just do it, right? A lot of guys will invent things. They'll say like, I have to do XYZ before I can do it, right?
Yeah.
If there's any like, I need this, I need that before I can start, right? Anything that comes in that sentence before I can start is bullshit, right? No matter what it is, right? So, like, okay, maybe like if you're literally in a hospital bed and you can't move, then maybe, right? That's about it, right? Anything other than that is like, it's just bullshit, right? So
cope, right?
Yeah. So just you have to take yourself and put yourself in a situation in front of a beautiful woman. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's not meant to feel pleasurable, right? But also try to imagine the worst possible scenario, right?
Yeah.
The worst possible thing that can happen. It's not actually that bad, right? It's not actually that bad. You probably tell yourself worse things than the girl will ever tell you, right? Every day of your life, right?
That's deep.
So, if you can handle it from yourself, you can handle it from some other girl, right?
There's a big divide between guys like you who actually get out there and live life, and then you watch, because there's a lot of people in the community I call red pill masturbators. They know all the fucking lingo, they got all the fucking books, and they got them framed, they got a picture taken with Rollo Tomasi and all that shit, right? And there's guys like you who you just get out there and you fucking do it. I think it's so much more rewarding to live the kind of life that you're living, because although it is the harder path, you got to realize, like, because it's harder, it's also the path least traveled. So you can have less competition. And we were talking about it before the show started. Like, if you do all these cold approaches and you out and talk to girls and you're not afraid to talk to girls, because I talk to chicks all the time when I'm in the States, right? It's English. The thing here for me is a language barrier, but you even told me on the way here that's really not a big difference. So we might do something. We're thinking about putting together something with filming him training me. I don't know if that would be interesting for you guys. Let me know. We would film it and everything. And then, but yeah, going back to that, being able to do this, getting out in the real world and talking to these girls, you're not going to have a lot of competition. And then when you're doing it on this hard mode, which is going out, talking to girls in dry situation, cold leads, if you want to talk about sales. And then you're brought into a situation where like a friend invites you out to a party and he's like, oh yeah, these are all my friends. There's like 25 girls and there's 10 guys. And you're already fucking hot from closing these cold leads. You were mentioning that when you go into this situation, then you have like a monumental advantage over these dudes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just like the rejection again. It's like the whetstone. It's like you're forged in the fire. Your steel forged in the fire, and your edge is sharp, right? And you can see this, like even like if I was gonna sit, if I just sat in my room for 2 months, 3 months, my edge would get dull too. I'm not gonna regress down to like super baby level, but my edge will get dull, and it will take me some time to get back into things. It will take me several interactions, even a few hours, maybe even a couple days to get back into things to where I'm feeling sharp, where my mind is working quickly, right? And I think a lot of it is as well is your cognitive capacity, right? Right? And it's like when you do something, when you have to think about something that you're doing, it takes a lot more energy, right?
Yes.
So if you're thinking about like, how am I standing? Where do I stand? Like if there's a girl walking this way, how do I stand and how do I move my hands and where do I look and what do I say, right?
Hands in my pocket, hands outside my pocket.
Yeah. What do I say? Do I talk about her? She's wearing an umbrella or she has an umbrella. Does that affect
Is she
anything,
ovulating?
right? Like, yeah. So the more things you have to think about, the harder it is for you to take that action, right?
Right.
So the purpose of repetition is basically to make it so that you have less things to think about. If you think of your conscious mind and you have all these processes, like if you open up your process manager on your computer or whatever, you have all these processes, right? How can you move some of them into the subconscious, right?
Yeah.
And make it so they're automatic, right? And you do that by going out and getting repetition, doing it over and over and over. And pretty soon everything's automatic, even leading escalation. And when everything's automatic, you're calm. You're like a lake with no waves in it, right? Right?
Yeah.
You're just like chill. And anything that happens, you can just roll with it, right? So she throws some bullshit in your, she's like, my boyfriend's gonna come right now in his car. You're just like, cool, let's just go this way for 5 minutes, right? Like you can handle anything, right? Once you've done enough repetitions, right? That's the power of repetition.
I think, I always talk about this in regard into like your repetition builds like your baseline skill, right? And then you're building your baseline skill, and then as you like have momentum, you get like a layer of skill above it. When you stop doing it, your momentum skill will bring you down to that baseline. But the more reps you put in, the more like part of you it is. Right. If I was like, Mateo, like we got to go pick up girls right now, you'd be like, all right, let's fucking go. Yeah. Like you would just walk outside and start doing it. But if a complete, like, for me, a guy that doesn't do it as much, it would be like, okay, like, am I dressing well? Or like, like, what do I say? How do the logistics work out? I would want to know a bunch of things, And the only way people can get like you is like what you said. You have to step outside and you actually have to do it. And the reality is like, there's not much, there's not much to fear. Yeah,
there's nothing to fear, except fear itself.
I was about to say that.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
MLD, how do brothers do with the ladies in Japan? Yeah, you got black friends that are killing it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think the it's interesting because it's definitely more polarizing, right? There are girls that love it and there are girls that are not about it, right?
Yeah, the girls that love black dudes, like they won't give us the time of day because we're just not black. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to tie back to something I saw in the chat. We got a hater in the house. How do you deal with people who are just like, oh, well, you just went to Japan and so Japanese girls are easy and it's just easy to get laid in Japan. Like it's just like it's a nation of fucking whores, which really that's America.
This is actually my favorite kind of like random internet hate because people love to throw this out there. It's pretty
all
funny.
The time.
It's so funny. It's actually really funny. But no, I mean I had girlfriends the whole time in the US, and when I was in university I dated a black girl and I dated a Mexican girl. and a white girl as well. So
This is the dipshit right here.
yeah. So it is just funny because like I think it's funny. I would challenge anybody who thinks that they have it. That thinks that Japan's easy. Come try. Come try. I'll even like buy you a beer, and if you're actually gonna try.
Yeah.
If you're gonna come out here and do 50 approaches in one day, and then after those 50 approaches, if it's not easy, then come talk to me, because I think it's hilarious. Yeah. If you go to the Philippines, yes, easy. Thailand, yes, easy. Japan in the 80s, probably easy.
Yeah. But here the thing is like, because a lot of people when they go to these third world countries, they flex like, oh, well, I got fucking money indirectly, you know what I mean? But here, Japan has the third strongest economy in the world. These Japanese chicks are inheriting hundreds of thousands of dollars from their grandfather. They have money, they have jobs. They're not like eating out of fucking trash
And foreigners
can.
are basically, in a way, second class citizens. Right?
Basically, we
Yeah,
are.
Yeah, we're second class citizens. So approaching a girl, it's hard to explain in the U.S. because even in the U.S. everybody's kind of equal in a way, right? But it's like being worse than an immigrant in the U.S., right? It's like being like somebody who doesn't even speak, the language in the U.S. that's like from another from another universe or something, right? So it's not, just come and try, and then talk.
Yeah, and I love it because they can never. Is the guy's not getting pussy that say that, and it's hilarious. Like same with like go to Colombia and try. Like it's a challenge anywhere in the world. Ask the fucking local people. You want to talk about how much you hate American girls?
Well, I'm here, right? I'm here. I've been here for 11 years, and I have no plans of going back.
What are your like? What do you think is like? What do you dislike about American girls? For me, they're so grotesque. Like they burp. they're unkempt. They talk like men. They use the word bruh. They're just not. They're like gross men, kind of.
Yeah, I think it's for me. I think it's like they're not.
Shut up and take my
in good
money.
Faith. There's basically this culture of kind of like gotcha. Like they're trying to find this. Like they're trying to find something to be mad about, or like some reason to hate. Right. There's no like mutual like let's do something cool together. Right.
No harmony.
Yeah. There's no harmony. It's just
It's almost combative to an extent.
Yeah, it is combative, right?
And it's exhausting. Is I don't want to I have no reason to dominate you. Like I already know him better. Like we don't need to engage in a conversation or a debate or anything because you're gonna fucking lose.
Yeah.
Mr. Got Plenty 199 super chat says, I heard Yakuza are everywhere in Japan. Is that true? No. No. They're a dying breed, unfortunately. Those guys have some wild sex lives though. I'll tell you what, those some of those top Yakuza boys have like fucking 1,000+ body counts because they're just bathing in pussy. Day game. Let the guys know your system. Because you're fucking some of these girls within like what, an hour of meeting them, 2 hours, or
yeah. I don't pull them anywhere but straight home usually. So I don't go to a bar or a venue. It's almost always straight home.
So how do you get ready for it? How do you go out? How do you know what is good, a good lead and a bad lead? And then how do you get them back to your house? And give us a time frame. Just give us like a timeline.
So I sort of take all the guesswork out of it in the sense that if she's there and if she's paying attention, the interaction is a 10 out of 10, right? And then my job as a man mostly is to lead, right? So I sort of think of it as like there's two processors, right? In your brain, like all these computers have multiple cores. It's the same kind of thing, right?
Right.
You have one core which is like pure logistics, right? So it's like where's my house? Where can I have sex, right? Or where's the venue that I'm trying to go to? Do I have a phone number? Do I have a phone? Does she have a phone? Can I get her contact, right? All this sort of basic things. Where are we walking, right? Is she gonna go into a train station or is she going to get into a taxi? How much time do I have?
What if she's walking towards you? Mystery said if a girl's walking towards you, you never approach her. You just keep going.
He said that?
Yeah, he did.
What? You can only approach girls who are not walking? That sounds crazy, man. Yeah, no, I definitely, you can stop and walk with them. I usually just wait till they pass and then walk after them.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't stop in front of them?
I don't stop in front of them because, well, for the most part, then they have to, like, a lot of Japanese girls, especially the hotter ones, will continue walking. In the West, more girls will stop, and then you can kind of open like that. But in Japan, like, they will just swerve around you and keep going. And then you got to, like, turn around and chase her, basically, right?
The one thing the Japanese girls do is, like, the fucking stone cold ignore.
Yeah.
Like, the really, really hot Japanese girls, like, when you talk to them and they don't want anything to do with you, they will just, like, you can say whatever, and they'll just completely pretend you do not exist and keep going. It's pretty ruthless to experience. It's happened to me before.
I kind of respect it. I'm like, damn,
it's gangster.
Like, she's got some ability. Like, that's actually hard. It's actually hard to ignore somebody like that, right?
It's gangster.
Yeah. So, like, one mind has to be thinking about, like, what you're actually doing in terms of, like, your physicality, all that basic stuff, right? The second mind has to be totally fun and free and in the moment, right? The problem is these two minds cannot coexist, right? You can't both be thinking about, okay, should I turn left here or right here, or like how many meters or how many feet until I get to my house or blah, blah, blah. You can't think about that necessarily at the same time. It's two different processes, right? And she can't get the sense that you're thinking about, okay, I got to walk this way and then this way, because she's gonna be like, you're too calculating. Like, what are you planning? Where are you taking me? What are you doing? Right? Comes across as creepy, right? So you have to have both of those cores, those CPUs firing effectively in order for the interaction to go well. You have to know where you're going, and you also have to be able to talk in a relaxed, chill way, right? Not have too many pretensions, not trying to present yourself as someone rather than just being someone, right? So in terms of a lot of people talk about tests, like I hold her hand to see if she holds it back or whatever, right? Does she twirl her hair? Does she point her toes at me or whatever? I don't pay attention to any of that. I don't pay attention to any of it because I think a lot of these signs, like, okay, if she does that, it's a good thing. Yeah, okay, so you're using it. Why do you need that reassurance, right? Right? Just take her and just lead her anyway. If she doesn't want to go, she's gonna leave, right? And that's fine.
Yes.
Right. So if she doesn't want to come with, you'd be like, hey, let's go this way. We're gonna get a drink. We're gonna go walk this way, and then you start walking. And if she doesn't come with you, if she's really not going to come, then she's not going to come, right? But you don't need to, like, wait and be like, I think her feet are pointing at a 37-degree angle, and therefore it's okay for me to try to take her somewhere, right?
Yeah, guys are looking for, like, kind of a checklist to permission to succeed.
So you can't be looking for any kind of permission, right? You got to just exit, basically. And the good part is this eliminates any guesswork from it, right? Any girl that's still there, looking at you, talking to you, or not actively moving away, you can move towards the direction that you want to be going, right? Which for me most of the time is my house. If I'm out of my neighborhood, it might be a bar or something quickly for a drink and then a taxi, right? So I already know immediately where I'm going when I approach the girl, and as long as she's sitting there looking at me, smiling, or not even smiling, just talking, or even vaguely ignoring me. Some girls will vaguely ignore you, but still, if you're like, hey, let's go this way, they will still even follow you. They might be like, okay, right? Wow. Like, so there'll be, like, I remember, because I had some times where I'd bring a girl home after a date and we'd be sitting on my couch. I'm like, all right, in my mind, like, I'd be like, all right, it's time to kind of, make something happen. And she's sitting there on her phone, like, kind of like, like looking super bored. And, like, in my mind, I'm like, fuck, this is definitely not going to work, right? But I gotta do it, right? So I'm like, hey, and I just grab her phone, just put it down, and just start, escalating. And it just works, right? She just melts in my arms, right? And she was just sitting there just waiting for me to make a move, basically, right? So the thing is, like, you can't let these signs that might seem like a bad signal to prevent you from doing the action that you want to take, right? Do the action, get the no, right?
Get, like, the hard no, right?
Yeah, get the no. Yeah, whether that's her walking away or her saying, hey, stop, and then that's okay, right? But you have to get that no, or else you have no idea. Otherwise, you're projecting. You're seeing ghosts, right? You're projecting demons where they don't exist.
Yeah. I think so. Walk me through this. So you lead her in the direction of your spot. You start walking to your house, and then what do you do to, like, get her inside? You're just like, hey, let's go inside. I have a cute dog. Like, what do you say? Because guys need it, like, they like to know, every little process.
Sure. Yeah, so most of the time on the way when we're walking, I'll build it into a story, something like, a lot of people like this neighborhood, but it's not that convenient because there's not supermarkets around, or some sort of like, it's a story that basically communicates to her, hey, he lives near here, right? But I'm not saying, hey, we're going to my house, right? Because if I said, hey, let's go to my house and drink, she's gonna be like, I'm not going to your house, right? Like, that's scary, right? But if we're walking, so make it as easy to say yes as possible. Like, hey, let's get a drink for 10 minutes, right? Yeah, okay, sure, right? Why not, right? Easy to say yes to. Then as we're walking, I'll basically incept the idea that I do live around here. So I'll be like, it's not as convenient as you might think. There's not really supermarkets around here. There's just all these expensive little bougie shops and blah, 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 convenience stores or whatever, right? And then she's like, oh, okay. But in her mind, she's sort of starting to put the pieces together. She's like, okay, we might be going to his house, right? Maybe stop at a convenience store, get a couple drinks. And then she's like, okay, well, wait, where are we going to drink these? Probably maybe a park or maybe his house, right? And that all of that is so that when we get to the house, it's not as much of a shock, right? So it's to avoid two things. One is that if you tell her, hey, we're going to go drink at my house, a lot of times if it's early in the interaction, if she doesn't have that trust with you, she's going to be like, no, I'm not going to your house, right? And then the other thing you're trying to prevent is when you get to the door and she's like, whoa, wait, it's your house? What the fuck, right? So you want to prevent both of those, basically. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot too soon, but you also don't want to have that like sticker shock or entrance freeze or whatever, right? And most of the time, if you kind of communicate enough, hey, we're gonna get a drink together, then when you get to the entrance of your house, it's fine, right?
Do you ask her, like, do you kind of fish out? Does she have time? Like, what are you doing today? Where are you heading? Are you busy? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. But I sort of, it's like I only look for positive signs, right?
So you kind of like brainwash yourself into the success.
Yeah. So she's like, I only have like 15 minutes and I gotta meet a friend.
I can knock this out in 8, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I know that she's gonna meet me and she's gonna have a good time. She's gonna be late to her friend because girls do that all the time. They cancel on their friends. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, she's gonna cancel, right? Like she's just gonna cancel. She's gonna be having such a good time talking to me. She's gonna get swept up in the whirlwind. And, we're going to be making eye contact and everything. She's going to just end up in my house. She's going to forget about her friends, forget about her arrangement. We're going to hook up and smash. And, she might be 20, 30 minutes late for her thing, but she'll still make it. She'll get there or not, or she'll cancel, right?
Have you ever had girls just like flat out cancel their plans and spend the whole How much time did they spend with you?
The whole night, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What time did you bring them?
Girls are ruthless. Like,
what time did you bring her home? Like, for example, and then she spent the whole night.
So this was like about 6 p.m. or something.
Wow.
In one case, and she had a very specific. Girls are so a lot of girls will say, "I got to meet my friend soon," and most of the time they're like, you don't really know if it's true or not. They might just be trying to get rid of you. But, like this girl in particular, she was like, no, I got to go to this place at this time and smoke shisha or whatever, right? So it was very clearly an actual plan. And yeah, I pulled her. We had drinks and straight to my house and hooked up. And there was no mention at all of this plan ever again. Wow.
And she stayed until the next day?
Yeah.
You guys are banging all night? What were you doing? Just hanging out, eating pizza?
I banged a few times. Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Like I'm over banging like nonstop. I do it often. So like, I don't need to like smash 15 times in one night or something.
No. I'm just trying to get like, cause for the audience, they definitely want to know as many details as possible. So like, did you watch Netflix or like you enjoyed spending time with her? I'm assuming, because sometimes after you fuck these girls, like, all right, get out, go back.
Yeah.
Go back to your boyfriend.
Yeah. I'll just start doing what I want to do. Like I'll just like if there's, I might not kick them out, but I'll just like literally just get on my computer and start doing work or something, right? I'll be I gotta do some work or whatever, right? Or start fucking around on whatever, texting people or doing whatever I need to do. I'm not gonna like sit there and like pay attention to her if I'm not interested in her.
Like cater to her.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cater to her at all. But I mean, I'm not gonna kick her out. Like she can sit there and chill and like maybe in another hour I'll get in the mood again and
Give it another go.
Give it another go. Yeah.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Jacques Thibault says, "Are Japanese women that used up?" No, it's just you got to find. There's buyers and there's sellers. You got to find the ones that are buying. Mateo, I think it's been awesome to have you on the show here. And every guest that comes on the show in the lead up to the Masculine Empowerment Network, I have a series of questions that I asked them. I already asked them these questions to some other guys. None of these are gotcha questions. This is just this is kind of to humanize you and give a little humanity to you. And these are the same questions. Question number 1 to you, in your opinion, Mateo, does body count matter?
For a girl.
Yeah. Fuck, of course.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess depends what you want in the girl, right? Yeah, it depends what you want in a girl. I mean, for me, like you met the porn star girl that I dated. So obviously,
I liked her a lot. Good energy.
Obviously, obviously she has a high body count. She's a porn star, right? But at the same time, I'm not gonna like marry her or something. I'm not gonna marry anybody probably, but definitely not her. But the other girl I was dating was a super sweet, very, very innocent, low body count girl, and who's just super doting, right? Would make me a smoothie every morning, would, scrub me up in the shower with soap. And when I would come home exhausted, she'd be like, "All right, let me get your socks off, get your shoes off, get your pants off, get you in bed, lay down. You must be tired," right? So that kind of girl is great, right? So if you're looking for some girl a little bit longer term, for me, like I usually like to date girls for a couple of years. About 2 years is good for me, and then maybe move on, because they usually they're like start talking about like marriage, and I'm like, I'm not really about that right now. So kind of catch and release them back into the wild, and be like, all right, go find some nice salary man to give you the picket fence and whatever else you want.
Interesting. You don't want to ever be in long-term relationship, wife, kids, nothing?
If I do, I'll do it. For me, it's mostly naturally ended around 2 years or so, where they start being like, are we going to live together? Are we going to get married? And I'm like, nah, I'm like, basically like, nah. So, if you need to, at a certain point, because girls have a short window, right? So I do feel bad, because obviously, like, these are girls that I love, right? So I don't want to like take all like it, I don't want to like monopolize her for her entire prime fertile window, like,
right.
With her for a couple of years, she knows what I'm about. Like, they all basically know what I do and everything. So, and she knows she's not really gonna get some husband for me. So unless she's okay with me smashing other girls, and if she can be the main girl, then maybe one or two girls eventually might be the main girl. And then I'm still gonna smash girls on the side. But if they're cool with that, and if they're okay with that, then yeah, they can be number one, right? There's not a problem with that. But it's never gonna be, it's never gonna be like forever lovey-dovey, and I'm gonna be chased and whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, this monogamy is just not in the question for me either.
Yeah,
sorry, but it is for my future wife, or I'll break her legs. In a video game. All right, let's go to question number 2. Okay, this is one that plagues me as a coach, but I want to ask this to you. How much do looks matter for men when it comes to approaching women?
Right. So this is a big one, right? And I think the short answer is it does help you for the first maybe 15 to 30 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
It helps buy a small amount of time, right? But then going back to the puncher's chance thing, if you don't match up to those expectations, then the fall is hard. The fall is hard, right? Whereas the flip side, if you're like maybe a below average looking dude, if you can ride out those first 30 seconds, then you actually have more upside, right? So that's basically the advantage there, right? And I think a lot of guys who have good looks end up coasting on them and not actually developing the game to back it up, right? And guys who don't have the good looks end up looking at the guys with good looks being like, damn, like if only I looked like that, then I could XYZ, and they're overestimating the benefit of it, right?
That's kind of happened to me before, because when I'm like quiet and I kind of have like I have a man resting bitch face, so I look a little mean. And I've experienced this multiple times in multiple countries. Like when a woman would come up talk to me, and then I'm a little bit nicer than she expected. She was expecting like some kind of mean guy, and I'm just like, oh hey, how's it going? And then they're just like they're kind of let down. I could tell, I can see the attraction failed because they want me to be like, what do you want, you fucking whore? I've seen that happen before. That's very interesting. I never, because I'm always like, set the bar high, dwarf these hoes, like, just fucking stunt on them, like, blitzkrieg, like total submission, attack on all fronts. But I think your is more like the Sun Tzu kind of way, like to fucking let my enemy underestimate me. And next thing you know, bitch, you're naked in my room.
It's like the drunken master or something. Like pretend like you're fucked up, and then bam.
All right, let's go to question number 3. What is your plan moving forward with women in general? Like, how do you plan to live out your life? I think we kind of touched on that a little bit, but
yeah. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm trying to do things with groups, basically, of women. So like organizing like 5 to 10 girls and going to some place and hanging out with all of them, right? Or going to like high class events, right? Like, yacht parties or whatnot, right? And going there with a bunch of bitches, basically. So,
totally.
And that's kind of like what is I guess the only final amusing area of game. Other than that, it's just being around girls that I like to be around, right? Like doing whatever I want to do with the girl that I want to be around. So
no matter what event you go to, anywhere around the world, if you show up with like 5 to 10 hot girls, people are going to respect you.
Right.
Unless you're like a total fucking dork, which clearly you're not.
Yeah.
And that's like a status symbol you really can't buy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I want to definitely, can you invite me when you do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go to the next question. This is simple because for all men, this matters no matter where you are on the planet. Moving forward, what are your financial goals personally?
So I really want to get into get into consulting and building, helping businesses grow, basically. So that's like kind of the next, getting all the skills and ability there to be able to step into startups or even bigger businesses and kind of highlight their areas where they can grow, basically. So that's financial goals, and eventually, of course, the money that comes along with that.
Fuck yeah. How much do you know, like, do you have a target number for what you want to make annually?
Like $600K by next year summer.
Fuck yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Good shit. All right, let's go to the next question. Last 4. Currently, what is your current fitness and diet regimen? I know you like cooking.
Yeah, I love cooking. I got an air fryer, so
chat's gonna go insane. Everybody in America loves those goddamn things.
Yeah, I just got an air fryer. So, but I mean, because I do work at a club, so my diet obviously kind of sucks because of that, because there's a lot of alcohol involved. But yeah, for the most part, I just try to eat mostly just meat and vegetables. That's it.
Cool. And your fitness regimen is what do they call it? Herding cats?
Yeah, herding cats. That is my fitness regimen. Herding cats and picking up hoes. Yeah.
God in heaven.
Literally picking them up. Yeah, that's...
All right, next question. And this is something I know you personally practice, but right now, what are some mental health habits that you practice to, just zen out and take care of your mental health?
I'm kind of into gardening a bit more recently.
Nice.
And it is pretty chill. So that's definitely one mental health thing. I have a dog. I feel like that's big for mental health.
It is, man. It is. Your dog's fucking cute. I love your dog.
Yeah, she's great.
All right, last 2. Right now, what do you want to improve with your life?
Yeah, for now, most of my goals are entirely business, as well as I do want to get back to fighting. I was fighting about 4 years ago, So I want to get back into kickboxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
I just joined like yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
to go
For
back.
Which
This one right here.
for jiu-jitsu or
Yeah,
kickboxing?
it's a kickboxing jiu-jitsu gym.
Oh, nice.
I'm happy with my because I wrestled in high school,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
happy with my grappling.
Yeah.
My striking is where I want to get a little bit better.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I want to get back into fighting as well.
Cool. Last one. You participated in the webinars for the Dark Pass and the Masculine Empowerment Network. For you personally, what benefit did you find in the Masculine Empowerment Network, and how did it change your life? How did it affect you?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it's cool hearing all different kinds of speakers, right? So people who, because I, like, as you said, I'm out here living it. So I actually know very, very little about who YouTubers are in the community or any community really. So I spend very
It's a
very
good
little
problem to
time,
have. It's a very good problem to have.
I spend very little time consuming media.
Yeah.
So I'm literally just out there. I don't watch movies. I don't watch Netflix really. I don't really watch YouTube. And my own channel suffers for it. I don't create as much content as I should, as I know I should, right? But it's just because I'm out there living basically,
Living it, yeah.
and enjoying my life. So yeah, but the cool thing was to basically, because I didn't have any knowledge about any of these people that you brought on, but it was very cool meeting a lot of people and finding out that I shared a lot of beliefs with them and getting some knowledge in other areas. You had people from all walks of life that I probably wouldn't necessarily find on my own, right? So that was really cool. People who are experts in their own field.
Let me ask you this. I want to ask an additional question, because you were a teacher in the Dark Pass and a couple of these different webinars. What did you learn, and how was that experience for you? Because I think it was like your first time doing like these kind of digital webinars and intense coaching and deep Q&As.
Yeah. I mean, I like the big Zoom calls where we had everybody on, and all the kind of people had some really thought out questions and things that they brought to the table. People seemed to be really interested in kind of improving themselves and working through it. So I think the therapeutic kind of aspect that you include in a lot of stuff with like the inner game stuff is really big and really, really, really awesome. Basically, I think a lot of guys essentially need that. So like that's basically what they ultimately need to work on, right? And uncovering those kind of traumas that are going to prevent them from their business goals or their goals with women.
Yeah, and then they'll haunt you and they grow if you don't tackle them out. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Don't forget, on July 28th, we have the Masculine Empowerment Network going live. So go to masculineempowermentnetwork.com. Get on the email waiting list right here to secure your spot. It's 100% for free, and you'll be able to join and learn from men like me, Mateo, and so many more. If you want to see Mateo himself, you can follow him on Instagram, Human Uploaded on Instagram, and then you could hit the title bar here. It says his YouTube channel, Attraction Japan. You could hit him up and contact him for coaching if you're in Tokyo. And he's a great guy. He's going to sort you out. Seriously, the fucking best day game guy I've ever met in my whole life here in Japan. Really fantastic guy. I mean, this guy lives it day in and day out. That's it, boys. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, make money, make muscles, learn game, hold frame. Peace out.
Peace out.